Hi, yeah, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat, and today it's all about oaks. And look back through my playlist, although I do bits and pieces in different videos, there aren't that many on oak. And you know what? I've got 40, 50, 60 oaks around the retreat, and this is just one of them. Now, I'm sure if you followed me for a little bit of time, poor you, that going back to May 2023, in recognition of all the support and in many ways that Susan from America, was it Texas? Anyway, Susan has given me, I created Susan's Wild Westwood, and put some little gorillas in there, and I've got my little fisherman under there, and I left it. I think it's 21 trees, and do you know what? We need to prune it. So if you want to see what I do in summer with me oaks,
come on acorns, fight! Go acorns!
And to see a few more interesting oaks, including this great sort of Yamadori monster that I dug up. I think I dug this up in 2019 at my favourite place, Avalon Nursery. So we'll be looking at this. We may have a look at this one, and this little fun one which I seem to have put on a rock for some reason. But if you want to know, you need to keep watching. So I'll look forward to seeing you in a minute. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that all 21 of these trees are looking in pretty good nick. Long way to go with the ramification, but we'll only see that once we start removing loads of some of these. Look at the size of these leaves. Big ones like these, but then we've got little small ones like these. So it is possible to keep the leaves small. You just got to be persistent with your pruning and your semi-leaf defoliation, which is what we will do today. Now, before I do any work, what I always remember to do is don't forget to remove all the little bits and pieces that you've added. The amount of times I've started picking these pots up, forgetting that I've got this lovely mudman, and he ends up in many pieces, which is why you see a couple of them that appear harmless.
He's stone. Harmless enough though.
The only one not harmless here is yours truly. So let's get in and start opening this up a bit, shall we? And thankfully there's some nice easy wins we do straight away. We go right into the top here. We've got this great one growing here. I'm going to go all the way back to just a couple of leaf pairs, just so I can see what's going on in there a bit better. Also suddenly brings that canopy a lot more equal. So, and here we go. Here's an example where I've got, I say the way the leaves come out, they always come out as a whirl of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I like to do is leave 1, 2, 3 and then take the top off. So that way we've got 3 out of the 6 that are still able to contribute to drawing in sunlight energy, which ultimately does all the work we need to do. Also, by removing 3 of the 6, that's telling the tree, hang on, maybe I need to produce a few more leaves, hence the back budding. Down low, sucker going, there's a loaf going up, and in fact that low one there, let's get rid of that. This bit here pretty well looks dead, to be fair, so I'm going to assume it's dead and remove it. Oak cuttings, well, from my experience, no, not at all. Definitely not. Nada. Just slowly I start working my way through individual trees. I'm actually quite impressed that the moss has stayed nice and green all the way through. Often you find when you place moss on a planting, give it a couple of weeks, unless you're able to keep attention to detail and keep it watered, it tends to dry off, but this is remarkably kept with it. So anyway, we've got one here, we've got a dead branch there, we've got this growth here. I'm just going to take off the top leaf and that leaf there by accident, so we've got a pad. We've got a little shoot here. Again, I'm going to take the top one off so we can see the pad a bit better. Again, remove stubs where they are. We've got little ones there. Just remove one of the leaves on that, and then perhaps remove the one here that's coming towards us. So in terms of what I've done is I've created a tree that's got up, middle, lower, and there is some degree of, I suppose, separation. Hopefully you agree with that. And I'm going to go around slowly and do the same. Now what I will talk about now, sort of some of the signs we might see. On here there's a white powder. That means that we've got some aphid-like creatures that are quite happily laying, and you'll also see a sticky resinous substance often clear over the top of the leaf, a honeydew style. Again, another sign that you've got an aphid problem of some sort. You'll also see little patchy marks in there, again some indication of insect activity or something, so we need to give this a spray. And the other thing you're often looking for the tops there is just the signs of powdery mildew, and normally it's an absolute nightmare for the oaks and hawthorn, and there is a spray that I'll normally put on them, but here there's not such a big sign of it, so really now I just need to keep going around. I've done this one, we've got this one that's coming between the trees, got a really interesting wiggly trunk down there, following it up, 1, 2 branches. This is another case we'll get rid of the dead stub, and we're just going to reduce 1, 2, 3. So I've reduced that to just 3 leaves. Here there's only 2 or 3 on there. I just remove an inner one so I can see a pad on it. And again, you'll notice, folks, there's a little bud down here. We definitely don't want that bud down there. I'm going to rub that off. Bud in there, that could be quite useful. And then really we go a little bit higher up. Let's just remove a couple of the leaves there. So we've now got this tree sorted out. And it's, again, like all pruning, slow, methodical. Think about how your profile's going to look, but ultimately I tend to, with oaks, I'm trying to reduce to sort of 50% of the leaf mass around this time of the year. Because there you go, there's 3 there that I've cut from looking like that. They now look like that. The reason why was they were twice the size and it just didn't look right, but also they had quite a lot of browning. It's a bit like here, all over this leaf, it's got quite a lot of stuff on it, so I will reduce the size. And again, just to remind you, all you do, fold it upwards and then cut like that. And leaf cutting will act the same way as any sort of pruning. It will tell the tree, hey, maybe you want to do a bit of back budding for me. Okay, well, I've got this whole half done, and hopefully you can see some sort of difference. I mean, I can clearly see now right in, above, right through it all. Although, you know, I look at the trees and they're looking a bit ropey. Still early days for it. This was only planted up last year, so you know, I'm looking for a lot of back budding to take place, and that will happen over the coming years. Just about patience and encouraging the tree in the right way. So we need to keep on going and get this half done as well. Done. I love, this is what I like. You've got little trees down here that look absolutely wonderful. And that, again, that's another reason for making sure you do sort of a partial defoliation of everything. Little wonders like this will get masked out and will never grow into beautiful little trees that we want. So pot's very sticky. Again, another sign that I've got bugs there. Well, there you go. Nicely opened out. Really looking good with that. All I need to do, give it a good old dose of general purpose buggy type spray. Get it at any commercial stores, I'm sure. Up and underneath the leaves as well. Hopefully that'll have the desired effect. What else is there to do? Well, as I was going along, I was pulling out the little weeds that were in there. So I suppose really all I need to do is to have my fisherman on his way back with his specially trained marmay gorillas, because that's what every oak forest has.
You need help.
Much lovely. I really like this, and I can see this developing beautifully. The next major pruning I'll do on this is probably going to be at either in the autumn, where the leaves don't drop on these, they just go all crinkly and brown, or indeed early spring, late winter, when I'll prune right back to the buds that might be here and really bring it in closer and then let it go out again. Now, there are quite a number of varieties of oaks, Mediterranean oaks, Turkey oaks, the classic English oak. There's a whole load, and you'll see various ranges of those by the way the leaves look, sharpened edges, and I'm sure if you go and have a look in your oak-tastic book somewhere, you'll see all the various versions, and they all behave slightly different. Now I think this is a Turkey oak. It's much smaller, thinner leaves, the way they come out. I don't know if you can see it here. In comparison to these sort of thinner, much narrower leaves, these have got a much wider, I know they're bigger, but they've got a wider area here. So I think that's the difference between this sort of, I think it's a Turkey oak of some sort. Also the way they grow, they're almost like a dare I say, a shirigara maple in terms of the line here, in which they seem to put out lots and lots of leaves all around the trunk in this big mane. Now whatever we're going to call it, this is an example of what is a really good oak stock. It looks very good, but it's extremely unhealthy. Every year it gets problems with its leaves. This is the example of where I talk about we've got the whiteness of the mildew, and believe it or not, although we're now just about to go into dry weather, that's ideal because the mildew really multiplies when it's wet and damp. So I really need to cut a lot of this away. And I think this is probably one of the sort of trees that typifies the frustration we get with bonsai. If you look at the actual movement in this trunk, you're thinking absolutely love it, should be really nice. And then you keep getting this sort of subpar foliage, which all sorts of different issues with it. It isn't just the aphids, it isn't just leaf mold or whatever. It's basically it's telling you this tree is either not happy in the soil or is an issue in the roots, because it's very weak. It cannot fight against the normal infections. And when I look around the range of the other oaks, they are probably at their healthiest they've been in many years. So that's telling me one thing: I have got to get this out of the pot. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll definitely do it next spring. So we will see this in the spring. What can I do here? Well, what I always do, I've got to open it up. All the outer leaves, everything is dying off. So I am literally just going to remove all of this growth and see, give it a good spray out. So I'm reducing it, so I've just got 2 outcrops there. Again, have we got anything? What I want to be able to do is get the sprays on it so that it has a hope or a chance to do something. So let me reduce this severely and then we'll come back and see what's left of it. Well, there you go, cut it down quite a lot, did a bit of weeding around there. Another sign I find is if you've got a lot of trees where the weeds seem to grow quite happily through the soil and then you get 1 or 2 that are not, that might also be an indication that even if the weeds don't like the soil. So keep an eye out for things like that. But apart from that, I do need to still, again, what growth we have got there, let's make sure. I mean, there is some interesting movement in the base of that trunk, and it may be that I might do is cut it right back down, a bit like what you might do with a trident maple. Take it right back to the actual sumo form itself and then start again, although that can take ages. I could take it out of this if I really wanted to, not muck about with the roots and just put it into a better, bigger pot, spread the roots out, see if there's any obvious signs. But in this instance, I'm not so inclined, so I'll wait till spring next year. So we see something just a little bit happier and healthier. This one, taken exactly the same time from the ground as that other one you've just seen. This is the standard, I think, English oak. At least we've got a few healthy weeds in there, so that's telling me it's quite happy with the soil. We've also got big, large, happy leaves. And although there's not massive growth, and I found oak are actually quite a slow, ponderous grower. So when I first got them, I thought, wow, they'll just shoot out like maples and all that. But they don't. They take their time, and I think they definitely need to have a nice, happy root base. Just want to form little pads where I can. It's quite sort of leggy and pendulous, so that's going to be cut back down. Could I cut it back down now? I don't find they naturally like to flush out sort of readily, so it's hit and miss. You've got a 50-50 chance. I tend to do that sort of bud selection definitely in the late winter, early spring. So let's just, again, cut back, reduce leaf size. This has got a little bit of mildew on it. And again, we've also got signs of bug infestations. And this, as you see, I say, very leggy growth. It's actually not ideal right now, but hey, it's not bad, bearing in mind it was free. Okay, well, after all my blah, I decided, hey, I've got so many days, so let's have a look and see what happens. So what I have done is I've cut that, it was all the way out here, I've cut it all the way back to here. I'm going to have a look and see if that causes those buds to go. And equally, I think I've also done it here on a lower stub, and just see what happens there. And I've done it here on this one as well. Hey, let's see what happens, and I'll report back to you probably on a bonsai for breakfast some point in 6-7 weeks time. So again, I remind you, people seem to not watch the Tuesday morning bonsai for breakfast, and maybe it's the title, don't know, but that's the one where there's lots of little updates, bench tours, all bits and pieces, so you're never quite sure what you're going to see or what you're going to get, and certainly it's not covered in the title, so might need to read the descriptions for those. But yeah, please have a look at the Tuesday morning bonsai for breakfast, because there is some good stuff on there. Don't know why, I've got a rock there. Don't think it's doing anything, but no, it's not, so we'll take it out. Well, that's better, actually looks a lot better there. I think that's probably the front. Maybe even there actually might be the front. In fact, let's get rid of this leggy one as well. I'm keeping this one because I want juices coming through there, which means juices coming up there. Probably should use the correct term for that, but I can't help it, juices seems to work. Anyway, let's go for something a little bigger and more exciting. Now I've actually got quite a number that are sort of more thicker, definitely a good inch diameter across there. I'm just slowly developing the branches. They were originally a sort of 5 or 6 foot thin oak tree sapling, and I've obviously taken the top 5 foot off, and we're just slowly developing the branches coming out. And with something like this, it's a slow process. The truth is, we all know what I need to do. I need to get it back in the ground, and it may well be that next spring I'll put a couple of these back into my newly prepared growing beds. But you're going to see more about the growing beds probably next spring, because I've got a year in the life of growing beds, another video that's going to come out in 2025. So if that's something that'll interest you, hit the notifications, the bell notifications, select all, so that at least you get a chance to realise it's come up and then decide whether or not to watch it. So what will I do with this? Again, same sort of thing, just reduce growth in different places that I don't really want it. And like a lot of the pruning, it's very subjective, very subjective at this stage. This is nowhere near sort of bonsai stage, so I'm just reducing a few solar panels, telling the tree, can you do a bit more for me please? There we go. The other thing you might often get is a black sooty residue on as well, and you might often get that on oaks as well. That's another noxious pest problem as well, or it might actually be a fungal problem, but yeah, I call it the noxious black dust fungus problem. I treat them all the same, I spray them and then keep an eye on them. That's a big long growth. We've got a small one there, so let's see if we encourage that. Anything that's long, I'm really removing. And just take the top off. So really that's all I do, and I've got probably another 10, 15 just like this, and it's that slow process. But there is one that you got a glimpse of right at the beginning, which I want your help with, because I'm really not sure where to go with it, and I don't have to do anything right now. So let's have a look at that, shall we? Yeah, this one. You've heard me in some of my earlier stuff. I think it was about when you go Yamadori hunting, or I think actually when you go air layering. Have a look and see if either the place you're going to air layer makes sense, or if the thing you're going to dig up makes sense. Because again, great big 6 foot. I cut it off, got this sort of thing growing, and I've let the suckers go. But when you look at it, I find it really difficult right now. There's definitely some big inverse taper here. What I had hoped is I'd get growth and stuff coming out from here, giving me branches I needed. Instead, we've got this whole area here which nothing's grown from. And I don't know if you can see it, but all around here, well, you can see that's obviously dead as. Should have been a good indicator. There's a brown mark all the way down here, all the way down to here. And that's indicating that's all dead. If you're not quite sure, get yourself a knife and you'll see brown, which really means is that much point, because I'm going to get nothing from this whole area there, and it's dead all the way round to here. So that's half the trunk. So that's telling me probably the most obvious thing I would do is cut it, trunk chop it at least down to there. But with that inverse taper, I'm almost wondering, do I chop it right down to there and use these just to keep fluids going through there, and seeing if we get lots of little shoots coming out from lower down and around there, and create some sort of sumo clump. Calm down, Jason. Yeah, but you know, these are some of the dilemmas and problems we face, and I'm certainly still hobbyist age. I don't have the right answers. I think I'm going to end up cutting this all the way back to here, and if I am, I'm going to do that in the late winter. I want this to continue to get as much strength as it possibly can, so those roots can get as strong as possible, so that it can deal with that big trunk chop. But I'm really interested to know what you would do with it. It's certainly not a great specimen. It's another example of, you know, I just dug something up because I could, and I didn't really think too much about it. Probably when I dug it up, I should have actually cut it right down there straight away. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you would do with it. But apart from that, I'm pretty well done. If you've liked this so far, obviously a massive great thumbs up. So well, what's left to do? Oh, I know what I'll show you.
Can I please go now?
You can actually have quite a bit of fun and sort of do quite a lot with these. They don't really like shallow pots from what I've seen, but as I'll show you in a minute, I've also got one into even a smaller Mame style pot. But you know, this little oak forest, very, very interesting in a Dawn Isaac ceramic. Love the style of her stuff. It hasn't grown particularly. Might need to just prune out a few bits that are not doing anything. Very slow grower. Sort out a few bits and pieces in here. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with those. What do you think of this as a little Mame oak? Again, a little Dawn Isaac ceramic. Lovely little bit of movement there. Coming around this side. Interesting, challenging. It's challenging to definitely do semi-cascade oak, that's for sure. But we'll see how that develops. So, that's me done for oak for the day, and it's 30 degrees now apparently, so I'm hot and that's cooking, so I need to go inside. I need to do some editing to get some great videos up for you. So if you've loved this stuff, obviously please ask you to subscribe, but more importantly, share. And Share does so much stuff for me. I love her songs as well. Was it I Believe? Yeah, that was a bit electrotonic, but yeah. And Gypsies and something. Anyway, yeah, love Share. Anyway, that's another nice oak as well, nice big thick trunk. Wish you all the best. Hope you're enjoying your life at home and your job, and nothing's getting you too down. But if it is, remember, enjoy your bonsai. Or if you want a bit of a chuckle, watch me completely and utterly murder my bonsai. But apart from that, I wish you all the best. Happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.